I'm not just talking about the value of our currency. I'm talking about our currency being used throughout the world.
You want it to remain. You want the dollar to remain the world's reserve currency.
Well, I think it's bigger than losing any war.
I'm a person that likes a strong dollar, but a weak dollar makes you a hell of a lot more money.
In 31 days, everything changes for the US dollar, and Trump knows it. He's not talking about some vague, far-off threat here. We're talking about a countdown clock that has been ticking. And BRICS Plus, especially Russia, is now investing in gold like there's no tomorrow. Question, dear friends, does the book of Revelation ask us to invest in some form of gold? Here is the truth. President Trump is already kind of gearing up for this. He's been hinting about it over the past few weeks. So in 31 days, the Fed takes action to further weaken the US dollar, slashing interest rates. They know the trouble is on the horizon. That's the only reason they're doing it. And while most of the media is still asleep at the wheel, the truth is that the dollar's grip on the world is slipping fast. Americans are suffering, and honestly, that was the backdrop of this week's meeting with President Trump and Putin. A declining US dollar, the rise of the BRICS nation. Welcome, dear friends, to TIBP Media. Kindly like and share this important prophecy update. ZeroEdge.com says, BRICS Gold Glory, the dawn of a new era, August 16, 2025. Beyond the fading grandeur of G7 and G20, Club of Nations forged in the aftermath of World War II and now mirrored in economic stagnation and demographic decay, a new alliance emerged on the geoeconomic map, BRICS Plus. This coalition, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, represents rising League of Nations determined to expand their trade, influence, security, resource flows, and accumulate the economic surpluses that once enriched Europe's great empires. By 2025, BRICS Plus, a formidable trading confederation of 11 full members, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, the United Arab Emirates, Ethiopia, Indonesia, and Iran, controlling vast reserves of commodities and strategic goods alongside the markets and labor forces to refine and consume them. Zero Edge, by the way, just published that article, an eye-opening report about the US dollar and BRICS nations using gold to get around the US dollar. They're building an entirely new trade and financial system right before our eyes. Putin walked into this meeting in a much stronger position that he's ever had before. What's happening inside the United States right now with the Fed? What's happening globally with the rise of the BRICS nations? Why central banks are buying so much gold like there's no tomorrow? The mainstream media makes so much money on trying to trick us that everything is going to be good, everything is going to be fine, just like the papacy in Rome saying that they can fix the problem of climate change. Dear friends, Bible prophecy reveals to us in Matthew 24 that it will get worse before it gets better. And when will it get better, dear friend? When Jesus returns and builds his heavenly kingdom, where we will walk on gold. In Washington, D.C., what was the big story? There was almost no coverage of this event in Washington, D.C. President Trump appointed Stephen Murin to the Federal Reserve, Now, the press tried to play this off as some kind of temporary appointment. No big deal. But the truth is, Mirin is not just a placeholder. This guy is very open to his views that the US dollar is too strong, that America needs a weaker dollar to stay competitive and to deal with our insane debt load, which just hit 37 trillion last week. You need a weaker dollar. That's his message. That's the only way. You got to devalue the currency. Question, dear friends. How is America? How are you going to afford paying $1 trillion on interest payments alone on that 37 trillion in debt? The answer is you cannot. That's why he believes that Trump hinted at this about a week ago when he said he was okay with weakening the US dollar because that means they will make more money.
I'm a person that likes a strong dollar, but a weak dollar makes you a hell of a lot more money. But a weak dollar makes you a hell of a lot more money. But a weak dollar makes you a hell of a lot more money.
The US government is basically admitting the dollar is to be taken down a peg, maybe several pegs, and the markets already see it coming. Everybody is betting on a rate cut in September. 31 days. Rate cuts weaken the dollar, and when that happens, money starts pouring into hard assets like gold. Globally, central banks are buying gold at a record pace. We're talking about 4 straight years over 1,000 tons of gold. And Russia, President Putin, is leading the way. And they're not doing this for fun. They're doing it to insulate themselves from the US financial system. And you see in the meeting of Trump and Putin, you see the bombers flying over Putin's head. Like, what a show of power, the MAGA group says. Look at that. He's so powerful compared to Putin. But the truth is, it's the other way around. President Putin right now, for a fact, has more cards than he has ever before. Totally different scenario than the last time he was on American soil 10 years ago. Sanctions haven't worked against Russia. Russia has won a war against NATO. NATO poured everything they had into Ukraine and Russia destroyed them. The reason why Russia is investing in so much gold, it's because they know that the US dollar system is about to shift. That's why they're doing it. And you want to be holding real assets when this shift happens, when the music stops, and you have to sit down on that chair. And here's the bigger part of the story. BRICS plus Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, plus new members like Saudi Arabia, Iran, the UAE, Indonesia, now represents more than 40% of global output when you measure it by purchasing power. So while Trump was meeting with Putin in Alaska talking peace, there's this undercurrent that both men are well aware of. BRICS is rising and the US dollar is falling, and they must invest in gold. So, dear friends, what we're talking about here is dramatically increasing the value of gold without selling one gold bar, just repricing it. Would they move it to $5,000 per ounce or $10,000 per ounce? Some economics are even saying that they might even reevaluate the gold to $20,000 an ounce. Can you imagine that? That is why this moment is so dangerous, so important that all the forces are converging. The Fed moving toward cuts, states rejecting fiat currency, saying, hey, you can use gold and silver in our state. You don't have to use the paper currency anymore. BRICS Plus is building a brand new financial order right before our very eyes. Central banks are gobbling up gold, and now governments and feds are quietly talking about pulling the trigger on reevaluation, and everyone will invest in gold. Dear friends, in 31 days, everything changes for the dollar and the world to shift to gold and other investments. Dear friends, money is not bad. That's why God provides it. But while the world is investing in gold like there's no tomorrow, listen to me carefully. Jesus wants us to buy from Him gold. Brother Jericho, Jesus is the heavenly merchant man of gold? Yes, but it's a different kind of gold. We might not be able to buy and sell during the persecution, but God has 1,000 ways to provide for us. Read this. Revelation 13 verse 18. Revelation 3 verse 18. I counsel you to buy from me gold refined in the fire, so you can become rich, and white clothes to wear, so you can cover your shameful nakedness, and salve to put on your eyes, so you can see. Gold that we must buy from Jesus in a spiritual way, that the character of Christ be seen in us to avoid the mark of the beast. This is the best investment that we can make. Buying gold from Jesus, like gold refined in the fire, a faith refined in the fires, the trials of life. In a world where everybody is chasing gold, in God's kingdom, we will walk on gold. Kindly type, our decisions today, I will be in that heavenly kingdom. Make sure, dear friends, that you buy gold from Jesus, refined in the fire, a faith that is refined by time. Thank you, dear friends, for watching, and God bless you.